Have you ever caught yourself not listening to a man's words, but to the silence between them? That barely perceptible pause that is more touching than any confession. He says, "I love you," but something within you, an ancient feminine intuition, whispers, "Wait, don't believe the words, look deeper." And you linger in that in-between space between his statements and your doubts, trying to discern the truth in his gaze, in the tone of his voice. This suffering from uncertainty is no illusion. It is not a sign of distrust or fear. It is the call of your soul that longs for authenticity. It is tired of beautiful words, of social masks, of rehearsed phrases. It longs for the truth. And the truth, or, as the great psychologist Jung taught, rarely lives on the surface in the realm of conscious confessions. The truth hides in the shadow. It resides in the unconscious. And this unconscious has its own language. It is not the language of words, which can be thought out and filtered. It is the language of the body, more precisely, the language of the hands. A man's hands are a seismograph of his soul. They are an extension of his true, uncontrollable impulses. While his mind plays a role, wearing the mask of a pleasant and loving partner, his hands show what is happening deep inside. They cannot lie, they cannot pretend. They do not show what he wants to show you, but who he truly is when he is not observing himself. I would say that the hands are the tools with which the unconscious writes its story on the canvas of reality. They can create and destroy, caress and repel, protect and threaten. And when you watch this silent dance, you can read what is never spoken aloud. You can see whether he is showing you his whole self or just a part of himself that wants to achieve something. So stop asking whether he loves you. Stop seeking confirmation in easily uttered words. Instead, learn to read, learn to see. I will show you how, through a single gesture, a single unconscious movement of his hand, you can learn more about his feelings for you than from 1,000 words. This is not palm reading, it is depth psychology, the key to which Jung left us. Get ready. We are embarking on a journey into a world of silent truths, and what you see there could change everything. The first truth, giving hands. Do not pay attention to what he gives you, but how he does it. He hands you a cup of coffee, a phone, a book. What do his hands do in that moment? This fleeting, everyday gesture reveals the entire map of his inner world. There are men who place the object in front of you distinctly distanced, without touch. This means, here is your coffee, here is your phone. No aggression, but also no connection. Jung would interpret this as an expression of an unintegrated animus, his logical masculine part. For him, in that moment, you are not a living woman, but an object to which something must be given. His hands say, "There is a distance between us. I am performing a task." This is neither good nor bad. It is simply a fact. It is the language of functional, not heartfelt, relationships. Now imagine a different picture. He hands you the same cup of coffee, but his hands move differently. They do not simply pass the object. They seem to offer it to you. His fingers touch yours for a moment. His gaze may be elsewhere, perhaps he is on the phone, but his hand performs this gentle, intimate ritual. He does not merely let go, he hands it over. In that moment, his unconscious speaks louder than his mind. This is not just giving, it is a symbolic act. And I would say that in this moment, his animus, logic, and action is in harmony with his anima, his inner feminine part responsible for connection, feelings, and relationships. His hand is not merely performing a function, it is seeking contact. It is an unconscious desire for connection, for bridging two worlds. This gesture is not politeness. Politeness belongs to the persona, the social mask. This gesture is energy. It is an expression of his true feelings that seep through the filters of consciousness. He could be angry with you, you could be arguing, but if his hand unconsciously seeks contact with you, it means on a deep level that the connection is more important to him than the conflict. His soul reaches out to you even if his ego resists. Observe his hands when he pays for you at a restaurant. He gives the money to the cashier. But where does his energy go? If he does it with dignity and calm, that is one thing. But if afterwards he gently touches your hand or places his hand on yours, that is something entirely different. It is a non-verbal message. What I do for you, for us. I want to share this moment with you. Conversely, if his hands are tense and rough when giving, if they avoid any contact as if they were afraid of getting burned, then that too is a message. It could be a message about his inner restlessness, his fear of closeness, his unwillingness to truly let you into his world. His hands say, I give, but I do not give myself. I am here, but not with you. So, the next time he hands you something, forget about the object. Look at his hands. Are they open or closed? Do they seek contact or avoid it? Are they gentle or tense? In that brief moment lies more truth about his feelings for you than in hours of conversation. It is not a gesture. It is a confession of his unconscious, which you can now read. The second truth, resting hands. The most honest moments are the silent moments, when the tension of conversation subsides, when no one has to play a role, when someone is alone with their thoughts, even if sitting next to you. What do his hands do in that moment? Where are they directed? What are they busy with? Imagine you are driving together in the car. He is at the wheel, focused on the road. You are silent. Look at his free hand. Does it rest on the gear shift? Does it fidget nervously with the steering wheel? Or does it find your hand on the seat, resting on your leg? This is not a calculated gesture. He does not look at you, does not expect a reaction. It is his unconscious speaking for itself. His hand seeks its place like a loyal dog and finds it with you. Jung would describe this as an expression of a deeply rooted connection within the self, the innermost center of personality. If his hand unconsciously seeks you, it means that in his inner world you belong to his safe place, you are his home. This is not passion, not desire, not a game. It is something much deeper. It is a need for grounding, for affirmation. You are with me, and therefore everything is all right. A gesture that speaks of deep trust and acceptance. And now another scenario. In moments of calm, his hands are constantly busy with his phone. He scrolls endlessly through the feed, even when there is nothing interesting. His fingers drum on the table, are clenched into fists or hidden in his pockets. What does this say? Hands that cannot find rest show inner unrest. Jung would interpret this as an expression of the shadow, suppressed emotions seeking an outlet. Constant use of the phone is not just a habit. It is an escape. An escape from the silence in which one might meet oneself. An escape from intimacy which can be frightening. His hands are building a wall between you. A phone in his hand is not just a device, it is a shield. Hands hidden in his pockets are a classic sign of concealment. He hides his hands, he hides his true intentions, his vulnerability. This does not mean that he is lying to you outright. It means he is not ready to open himself to you completely. There is a part of him he is not showing you. Observe his hands when you watch a movie together. Are they relaxed? Do they touch you? Or are they tense, crossed? Crossed hands are a sign of self-control. The person is unconsciously holding themselves back. Maybe he is holding back tenderness, the kind he doesn't dare to show, or perhaps he is suppressing irritation or anger. In any case, it speaks of an inner conflict. His soul is not at ease. True intimacy is shown in relaxation, when his hand rests calmly next to yours, without particularly seeking contact, but also without avoiding it. When he touches you accidentally, and it feels as natural as breathing, that is the state where his outer facade is asleep, and only his true feeling remains. A hand that seeks you in moments of calm is the hand of a man for whom you are not an affair or a temporary stop. You are his peace, and that is more valuable than any promise. The third truth, hands during an argument or conflict. This is the moment when all masks fall and the shadow emerges. Everything a person so carefully suppresses in normal life, anger, fear, resentment, shows itself. And when you see his true face, do not look at the face distorted by anger, but at his hands. They do not only reveal his anger, but what lies beneath it. So, you are arguing, his voice gets louder. What do his hands do? If they clench into fists, that is the oldest and most primal signal. This does not mean he is going to hit you, no, but it does mean that his limbic system, his animal part, has taken over control. In that moment, he is no longer an adult man, but a frightened or angry being, ready to defend or attack. Jung would say, the shadow has completely swallowed his consciousness. A man who clenches his fists during an argument does not control his anger. The anger controls him. And that speaks of emotional immaturity, of the inability to master strong feelings. He is not physically dangerous. What is dangerous is his unpredictability. Another possibility, his hands begin to gesture aggressively. He points his finger at you, slashes the air with his hand. This is no longer just a defensive reaction. This is an attack on your space. A pointed finger is a symbolic weapon, an attempt to break your defenses, to humiliate you, to subjugate you. His hands are screaming, you are wrong, you must submit. This is the gesture of an accuser, not of a partner. A man who uses such gestures is not seeking a solution, he seeks victory. For him, a relationship is a battlefield, not a space for cooperation. Now imagine the most important and rarest scenario. You are arguing, both of you are hurt and offended, but his hands remain open, his palms are facing up or towards you. This is an incredibly powerful sign. A hand that remains open in a moment of danger is a sign of the highest trust and maximal vulnerability. His unconscious is saying, I am angry, but I do not close myself off from you. I am unarmed. I am ready for dialogue, even if it is painful. Jung would interpret this as a sign of an integrated shadow. This man has become familiar with his anger, does not fear it, and therefore it does not devour him. He can be angry and still stay connected to you. He does not want to destroy or dominate you because he understands. If he destroys you, he also destroys a part of himself. Sometimes, in the heat of an argument, he might touch you, not to hold you back, but to stop the storm. A gesture of desperation and at the same time of hope. His hand says, please, let's stop. What we have is more important than this fight. A man who is capable of such a gesture in the middle of a conflict possesses incredible inner strength and maturity. He places the relationship above his ego. So observe. The hands during an argument are the ultimate test of his soul. Clenched fists mean fear and immaturity. Aggressive gestures are a sign of a need for power. And open palms mean vulnerability, inner strength, and a love that does not fear even the darkest storm. The fourth truth, protective hands. How does a man behave towards you in public? Not in private, where any role can be played, but in a crowd, among people. There his deeply rooted instinct, his archetypal role, reveals itself. And again, look at his hands. You are walking through a crowd together. Does he walk ahead, clearing the way for you, or does he just walk beside you, leaving you to navigate the crowd yourself? Or maybe he does something else, he places his hand on your lower back, not on your buttocks, man. That would be a sign of possessiveness, but specifically on your lower back. This is not just a gesture, it is one of the oldest protective symbols. Jung would say, in this moment, the archetype of the guardian, the protector, awakens in the man. The lower back is one of the most sensitive and vulnerable zones of our body. When he places his hand there, he is unconsciously saying, I am here. I have your back. You are safe with me. This gesture has no sexual connotation. It does not scream, this is my woman, like a hand on the buttocks. It does not say, I control you, like a hand on the shoulder. It whispers, I am your shield. It is an expression of a healthy, integrated animus. He does not use his masculine strength to dominate, but to serve, to create a safe cocoon around you. A man who acts this way does not see you as an object, but as a value that must be protected. Another example, you are sitting in a group and someone says something unpleasant to you. What do his hands do? Do they remain calm, or does his hand find yours under the table and gently squeeze it? That is a silent message. I am with you, I hear it, and I stand by your side. We are a team. He does not need to verbally intervene. Sometimes this silent gesture of support is much more important. It shows that your emotional well-being is his priority. You form an invisible front, the two of you against the rest of the world. An opposite example, a man who distances himself from you in a crowd or, on the contrary, acts possessively and roughly. His hand on your hip grips too tightly, pulling you close as if you were his possession, his trophy. Jung would interpret this as an expression of the shadow, more precisely, of insecurity. Such a man is not protecting you. He is protecting his ego. He uses you to prove his worth to other men. His hand is not a shield. It is a seal. It does not say, you are safe, but you belong to me. True protection is quiet and unobtrusive. It is a gentle touch, a hand that clears an obstacle from your path, a palm that opens the door for you. It is the small, unconscious movements that say everything. His world is arranged so that you can feel safe and sheltered within it. A hand that protects but does not possess is the hand of a man who truly values you, not because of your appearance or usefulness, but because of your essence. The fifth truth, hands that listen. We are used to thinking that we listen with our ears, but in reality, the whole body listens. And the hands play a key role in this. They can reveal boredom and impatience. Even if a man is nodding and smiling while you are telling him a story that matters to you, look at his hands. What are they doing? Do they rest calmly on the table? Perhaps he supports his chin with his palm and leans his whole body towards you. That is a posture of deep and conscious attention. His hands say, I am here. I am absorbing every word you say. What you say matters to me. Jung would describe this as a state of synchronicity. When two people are on the same wavelength, their unconscious is fully engaged in the process. He is not just hearing information. He is hearing your energy, your feelings. His relaxed, open hands create a space in which you can be yourself, without fear of judgment or indifference. Now imagine the following. You are talking, and his fingers are drumming on the table, or he is playing with his phone, his ear, or some object nearby. These are clear signs of impatience. Perhaps his mind is still with you, but his unconscious has already drifted away. His hands are screaming, hurry up! I'm bored! When will this be over? He is not really listening to you. He is just fulfilling a duty or waiting to talk about himself. A particularly interesting signal if, while you are talking, he touches himself. He strokes his shoulder, forearm, or neck. What does this mean? It is a sign of self-soothing. I would say, your story has touched something within him, perhaps something unpleasant, a part of his shadow. Or he feels insecure and is unconsciously trying to support himself. This is not necessarily a bad sign. It shows that your conversation is not empty chatter. It touches something alive in him. What matters is what happens afterwards. Does he try to flee from this state, or does he stay with you despite the discomfort? The most powerful gesture of listening is when he responds to your emotional story by simply taking your hand and covering it with his. He does not say a word, he just does it. This is the highest form of empathy. His hand says, I cannot take your pain away, but I can be here with you. You do not have to go through this alone. It is a gesture that shows a man is not just hearing your words, but carrying your feelings. He is not afraid of your pain, of your vulnerability. He is willing to share them with you. A man whose hands show that he not only hears, but truly listens. He does not see you as a collection of stories, but as a living soul. His hands build a bridge between two worlds, and across that bridge flows the most sincere and deepest affection. Do not believe his, "Yes, darling, I'm listening to you." Believe in his calm, open, and attentive hands. The sixth truth, hands that explore. But this is not about passionate touches in bed. It is about something much subtler and more intimate. It is about how his hands behave in moments of tenderness, when it is not about arousing you, but simply about being close to you. Remember how he touches you when you are just sitting next to each other. He takes your hand in his. What does he do with it? Does he just hold it? Or do his fingers begin to explore it unconsciously, almost imperceptibly? His thumb slowly traces the contours of your palm. He runs his fingers over each of yours, as if wanting to memorize every line, every joint. This is not an erotic gesture. It is a gesture of deep interest and silent fascination, and I would say, in this moment, the man is in touch with his anima, his inner feminine part, which stands for sensitivity and aesthetic perception. His hands are not saying, "I desire you," but "You impress me." He looks at you like a work of art. Every line of your hand is, for him, part of the unique pattern of your personality. It is an unconscious exploration. He might be watching a film or talking about something completely different, but his hands remain with you. His fingers continue their silent, meditative dance. This shows that on a deep level, you are a mystery to him, one he never tires of exploring. To him, you are not a book he has already read, you are an entire universe. Or another example, he brushes a strand of hair from your face. How does he do it? With a quick, functional movement? Or do his fingers linger for a moment on your cheek, your temple, as if wanting to imprint the texture of your skin into his memory? That fleeting touch, which lasts a moment longer than necessary, reveals his true feelings. It is tenderness that breaks through the ordinary. The opposite example, hands that always touch you in the same way. The routine kiss, the standardized hug, the hand on your shoulder. There is no curiosity in these gestures, no discovery. They have become an empty ritual. These are the hands of a man for whom you have become a habit. He is with you, but he no longer sees you. He no longer explores you, does not rediscover you. His unconscious has gone silent. A man who is truly in love and fascinated never stops exploring you. His hands will constantly and unconsciously search for new details, new gestures, new facets of your body. He will touch a small scar on your arm, not out of pity but out of interest. He will trace your fingers, because in that moment he is connecting with your uniqueness. Hands that explore are hands that love. They do not see just a body in you, but a map of the soul, and they are ready to wander that map endlessly. When his hands touch you in this way, then you know. To him, you are not just a woman. To him, you are magic. The seventh truth, hands that create for you. The last, and perhaps most important truth, relates to how a man's hands interact with the world on your behalf. Not with words, not with your body, but with matter itself. You have a broken shelf. How does he react? Does he say, "We should call a handyman"? Or does he silently reach for the tools, and his hands, perhaps not very skilled but persistent, begin to work? Do not look at the result, look at the process. When a man repairs or creates something for a woman, he is performing a deeply archetypal act. Jung would say that this is the manifestation of the archetype of the creator or craftsman, someone who uses his energy to bring order to chaos and to make the woman's space more harmonious and safe. What matters is the energy with which he does it. If his hands are nervous, if he curses and throws the tools aside, then that is a sign he is doing it out of obligation. It is a burden for him. His shadow side, irritability, resistance, is coming to the surface. But if his hands work focused and calmly, even if things do not work out on the first try, then it is something completely different. It is a meditation. It is his way of expressing care in the oldest male language, the language of action. In that moment, his hands say more than any word. Your well-being matters to me. Your problem is my problem. I am willing to invest my time and energy to make your life better. This can be anything. How he assembles IKEA furniture for you, how he sets up your computer, or how he cooks for you. Look at his hands. Do they create with love or with reluctance? Then there is the man who cooks for you, whose hands chop vegetables and stir sauces with calm, confident movements. He is a man who enjoys the process of caring. He is not just nourishing you. He infuses the food with his energy. It is an act of devotion for you. In contrast, there is the man who never does anything for you with his own hands, who would rather pay, delegate, or call someone else. Perhaps he is a man who is afraid or never learned to express care through deeds. He replaces personal investment with the universal energy of money. That is not necessarily bad, but it shows a certain distance. He solves the problem, but does not personally engage. True love always strives to embody itself. It cannot remain only feeling or words. It wants to enter matter. And the hands are the most important tool of this embodiment. Hands that create something for you with joy and dignity are the hands of a man whose love is real. It does not float in the clouds. It is here, on earth. In the fixed shelf, the assembled cabinet, the cup of hot tea he has made for you with his own hands. This is the most honest and powerful currency of love. Now you see it. Hands do not lie. They are a mirror that reveals the most hidden corners of a man's soul. They reveal his fears, his strength, his tenderness, his shadow. They are the silent storytellers of his true story. This wisdom that Jung left us is not a tool to judge or condemn. It is a compass that helps you navigate, not in the world of his words, but in the world of his real feelings. It is not about catching him out. It's about finding clarity. And this clarity is, above all, for you. Because a woman who can recognize the truth is no longer dependent on words. She no longer needs constant confirmation. She gains an inner stability that is not based on promises, but on knowledge. The path to wholeness, which Jung speaks of, is a path of integration. And it begins with the ability to see reality without illusions. When you learn to read the language of his hands, you take a tremendous step on this path. You are no longer led. You become the seer. And then a miracle happens. You no longer need to ask whether he loves you, because the answer is not in his voice. It is in his outstretched hand, in his protective gesture, in his gentle touch. You will simply know. And this knowing, born not from words, but from a silent, deep truth, is precisely the freedom, precisely the wholeness that every woman longs for. You are no longer a victim of doubt. You are the keeper of the truth, and that makes you truly strong and incredibly attractive. Have you ever met someone and you did not know why you felt so strongly drawn, so inexplicably connected? It was not just the appearance, not even the external personality. It was something deeper, a resonance that told you, this meeting is not a coincidence. Jung taught us that these are not mere coincidences, but manifestations of a higher order, a dance orchestrated by the collective unconscious to guide us on the path to individuation. These predestined connections often appear at decisive moments in our lives when we stand on the threshold of change, seeking the missing piece of our own puzzle. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, finds subtle ways to work in our favor, bringing us together with those people who are meant to lead us to our wholeness. Yet this path is not always a walk in the park. On the contrary, these connections often confront us with our own shadows, with those parts we have repressed or rejected. But it is precisely through this confrontation and through their integration that true growth happens. The destined person acts like a mirror, not only for our strengths but also for our deepest wounds and vulnerabilities, thus inviting us to healing and wholeness. The depth of these connections also reveals itself in the synchronicity of events. It is not uncommon for soulmates to discover that they were in the same places at the same times years earlier without meeting, or that they share identical symbols in dreams, or that their thoughts cross telepathically in moments of silence. These are not random coincidences, they are the universe's winking hints. Confirmations that their paths are intertwined on a level beyond rational understanding. Jung saw this as the language of the collective unconscious, an invisible web that connects all souls and expresses itself through meaningful coincidences in tangible reality. This web of synchronicities becomes denser as the relationship develops. It is as if the universe is constantly reminding them, you are on the right path. Your connection is part of a greater plan. Sometimes they experience the same life crises at the same time, even when they are in completely different places. Or they make an important decision together, and suddenly external events arrange themselves in astonishing ways as confirmation. These are signs that they are not acting alone, but that a higher power is weaving the threads of their fate. Yet true destiny is shown not only in the alignment of events, but in mutual transformation. The presence of the other activates talents and abilities that one never believed existed. It is as if the other person's vibration awakens hidden programs within one's own psyche and unlocks potentials that have long lain dormant. A classic example, one suddenly discovers a passion for music, the other for poetry, and together they effortlessly create works they could never have imagined alone. Or one develops healing abilities, the other the talent to teach, and from this emerges a natural therapeutic partnership. This awakening is not limited to creativity. It also shows itself in courage. One begins to do things they would never have dared before, not out of pressure, but because the presence of the other creates a field of safety in which one dares to take new paths and enter spaces that were once feared. Sometimes it is not a dramatic event that changes us most deeply, but a silent touch, a gaze full of understanding, or the feeling that someone sees us before we even know who we really are. A destined connection is not always gentle. It shakes us, breaks the old within us, but always with the goal of helping us grow internally. Through this connection, we do not become someone else. We become more of who we truly are. For when someone truly sees you, they do not mold you into themselves. They free you so that you can be authentic. In this sense, hands are not just symbols of love. They are tools of the soul. They touch, repair, protect, explore, nourish, and create. They express what the heart cannot speak and bear witness to truths that the mind often cannot comprehend. In a world full of empty words, these silent, sincere gestures become the strongest proof of love. Jung did not teach us to seek perfection, but to seek wholeness. And wholeness arises when we stop listening only to what is said and begin to read what is felt, what is shown through the hands.